Welcome to another episode of Distilling the West podcast. We're doing a tasting talk today. I'm joined by my co-host Dave. How you doing over there, Dave?
I am doing well. I know we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but one, glad to be on YouTube. So got to remember to look at the camera.
Yes.
And two, we're recording these 4 at a time. And so we may or may not have had a couple at this point. So cheers, sir.
Cheers to great content.
Yes. Today's tasting talk, we're doing Frey Ranch. That's a distillery not too far from here out in, I almost said Utah, Nevada.
Yeah, Fallen, Nevada.
And they are an estate distillery, so they do all their farming, all their distilling, everything from scratch. So yeah, something I couldn't do.
Yeah, that's next level, I guess, is the phrase there, because most distilleries, they're sourcing their grains, but they grow their own and make their own products. So yeah, we wanted a little bit of a topic to kick off today, and it's been in the news cycles of a whiskey glut going on.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessarily the whiskey glut that was the dark ages of bourbon when, back in the 70s, the clear spirits became more popular, and it was the dark ages of bourbon and brown spirits. But certainly whiskey was super hot, in the early 2000s going through the pandemic. So a lot of places just went ham on expansions, more equipment, laying down more barrels. And then all of a sudden there was a big retraction in the market after we all got out of the pandemic, the lower generation coming up. Honestly, I think that lower generation or younger generation is probably contributing to a lot of it, honestly, both in their volume and consumption or the lack thereof, and just also in culture too.
Yeah.
Like, not many people are going to happy hour after work.
Yeah, it's different now.
Yeah. There's a lot of options out there, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, society is different. The world is different. And like when we're talking about whiskey, people have been making a lot of whiskey, barreling so much product that I know the article I sent you guys the other day was about Diageo and how they're cutting back on their production. Some distilleries in Texas, they're not even producing for the next year. Some others in Tennessee, they just reduced a lot of staff. And it just goes to show that the whiskey business today is not what it was a couple of years ago in terms of volume. The quality is still there. The product is still there. It's just people aren't drinking as much, and it seems like not as much is being exported, right?
Yeah. And I think as part of that boom, companies were looking to increase their portfolio, give a bunch of different options, and maybe there was a glut of options, and I think while it was really fun, we all had our stimulus checks to go out and maybe spend on some bottle we wouldn't have normally tried or something that just sounded particularly good. And I think there's a little bit of consumer overwhelm as well. People have become more educated on the matter, and I know for myself, I'm pulling back a little bit. I've kind of found some of those either styles or brands that I've honed in on that I know I like, and I'm not taking as many chances as I used to, although I still am reaching out for things that I'm not as familiar with. I am focusing also, as we're doing this podcast, and focusing more in on distilleries from the Western United States. We found stuff that we really like. I'm trying to support local. I'm trying to support people that I feel like are really putting the craft in craft spirits. And they're also feeling the squeeze of it, right? Because the bigger distillers, like Buffalo Trace, they put in, new fermenters, new capacity all across the board, new warehouses, new everything. They're able to lay down so much that theoretically it should be coming out cheaper now and over the next decade or so. We'll see if that actually happens. but they're not really hurting. They can camp on stuff, whereas the smaller guy, can't necessarily do that as much. So I feel like our craft distillers in the Western U.S. are, also feeling the squeeze of tariffs and kind of that whiskey glut as well.
Yeah, I feel like, especially over the next 6, 12, 18 months, the bigger distillers with all the volume they have and all the product they have on hand are really going to end up pushing that to market, which could kind of squeeze some of the smaller distributors. So I know for me, my focus right now and going forward is going to be on these smaller distillers and trying new things and really supporting local, because it's our neighbors. This is our family. Like, I don't know. That's so neighbors like Frey Ranch. Let's let's dive into this a little bit. So this bottle is, Dan, you got this one. This was a store pick from our local Costco. It's a very small batch, not just a small batch.
That is small batch. And it says hand selected for California members of Costco. This is cask strength. It is sitting at 124.44.
Sure is.
Proof. And it does let you know it's there, right, Dave?
Yeah.
This may be one of my favorite Frey ranches that I've had. Do we want to get into like the nose and the taste on this?
Yeah, let's get into those. I know for me, I get a lot of the grain. I get kind of that grassy, weedy, hay-y note. That's primarily what I get on the nose.
I would agree. I get a lot of a hay note. The noses, I'm going to admit, is not my favorite part of the pour. For me, this really starts to shine on the taste, the most important part, right? And on the finish. Again, sitting at that 124.44 proof. It lets you know it's there.
Yeah.
We're rounding out our set of tasting talks with this one.
Yep.
We prepped our palates with other rye whiskeys, and now we're getting into this bourbon sitting at a high proof. So it stands up, even though we had all those ryes, still getting the flavors there. It's not washed out by any means.
Oh, yeah. This is number 4 for us today. And I'm just looking down at the bottle. Do you know the mash bill of this one? I don't think it says, does it?
I don't. I'm forgetting what I assume it's their flagship bourbon mash bill, which I am forgetting off the top of my head.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's fun.
I don't know if it's just the percentage of alcohol. It definitely has a little more burn than any of the ryes we've had today. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the burn. It's good. The palate, there's a little bit of sweetness with that burn to me.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dan?
I think you're right on that. Again, that it's bold. It does have a little bit of the burn, but that sweetness comes in on the mid to, into the finish. And as it progresses, that sweetness progresses into the finish. It kind of almost gets like a little bit of a toasted marshmallow thing going on for me. I always like that.
Yeah.
Like a Michter's small batch bourbon has a big toasted marshmallow thing going on. That's sort of the similar flavor that I'm getting towards the end of this thing. But yeah, I like it for a nice nightcap pour. And it's a good one.
I'm laughing over yours. I was pouring a little bit of water into mine, and I'm sure you guys saw that for those watching the video, just to kind of see if I can mellow out a little bit. And I saw our producer, Dave, kind of push his glass my way. So I handed him the water bottle and realized his glass is empty. So he obviously likes this one as he's going to pour his second. I'm going to try this with a little bit of water. And I know for me, 124 proof is a lot. I want to proof it down a little bit and kind of see how that opens up the flavor. And he's handing me the glass while I'm not looking at him. So here we go.
Yeah, it's fun to, put that drop of water in there, see what it does to it. I feel like it usually always changes it. Maybe opens it up a little bit. I think for me, I get sort of a little bit more of like a sweet cinnamon thing going on once that water's in there.
It's funny. I say the 124 is pretty hot for me. I added the water, and I think I actually prefer it without. Not that it's taking anything away from it, but to me, the burn and that high proof gave it a lot of character where putting the water in. I probably just put in way too much. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is good. I'm going to actually add more bourbon to the mix.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I was stoked to see this one in our Costco. I like Frey Ranch. I'm kind of always trying to look at what the hype might be behind Frey Ranch. I know I was kind of a little bit late to the game, and folks kind of go nuts for Frey Ranch. They've been a little bit hit and miss, if I'm going to be completely frank about it. But this one I like, and I'm happy that this one's on my bar for sure.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just added some more bourbon to the mix, and I think with that, I'm getting a little bit more of that flavor. I get a little bit more of that toasted marshmallow you talked about, yeah. And there's still a little bit of that grain, that I almost said rye spice, but no, that hay grassy note that comes through a little bit more. Again, I like this a lot. It's definitely up there of my favorites of the Frey Ranch picks that I've had.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the sweetness component in there is probably my favorite, and is what is making it stand out to me compared to a lot of the other Frey Ranches I've tried. So yeah,
I think the biggest thing, if you're going to take away one thing from this podcast, it's going to be drink whiskey. If you're going to take away two things, it's going to be drink local, support your neighbors. It really makes a difference. I'm going to say cheers to another tasting talk, Dan.
Cheers to another tasting talk, Dave.